Hello, you're back again on Gospel Faith Television, and this is part three for for the subject, which is the rise and rise of Africa, and Robert Mugabe being the African Union chairman. Yeah, so I'm going to start from where I stopped earlier, and I'm going to say that these are good times for the African continent. I probably said this in part one or in part two, but I'm saying it again because I sincerely believe that Robert Mugabe, being the man of integrity, of so much, full of integrity himself, he will bring stability to the African continent. Now, most times when I look at the African continent, when I see the coverages on TV, I see like, most times when they show the African continent, they show like too much poverty, they show too much fear, they show too much people not being in control of their lives. There's always political incorrectness. So when I say Robert Mugabe will bring stability to the African continent, I'm trying to say that Mr. Robert Mugabe will actually steady the ship. Yeah, he will bring a certain calmness. And I know he's capable of doing this because he's got the skill. I'm here to say that Robert Mugabe basically is a prime example of what Africa needs. Now, where other African leaders have failed in the past, I believe Robert Mugabe will succeed. I believe Robert Mugabe is a man of his word, and I believe Robert Mugabe is a man that will actually lead by example. Yes, he will lead by example. You've got to understand that these things I'm talking about here, I'm serious about it because I'm notifying these objectives. These are objectives that I'm bringing to your disposal. We need to see this transformation, and Robert Mugabe is the man that can lead us into that golden era. Again, he's the one. And I'm here to say to you as well that these objectives will lead to the rise and rise of Africa. The rise and rise of Africa is not just going to happen by itself. It's not a fairy tale. There has to be a foundation. There has to be objectives. There has to be steps taken. There has to be an aim before we can begin to see this rise and rise of Africa. But the first and the most beautiful step is the appointment of Mr. Robert Mugabe. Not only will Robert Mugabe benefit Africa, not only will he benefit Africa, but Robert Mugabe will benefit black people all over the world. I mean, black people all over the world, they will see Robert Mugabe for the true leader that he is. Yes, a lot of his works and the way he functions, it will have a major impact, not only for black people in Africa, but for black people all over the world. I would like to see more wages being injected into the military forces in Africa. I would like to see more wages injected and put into the police force across Africa in general. As these respective soldiers and military men and police force, as they look after their countries and the continent in general. I would like to see a pay rise, and I'm sure Robert Mugabe will bring this to the continent. Now, earlier I spoke about stability. Not only the stability will, Robert Mugabe won't only bring stability to the African continent, but he will bring peace. He will, excuse my word, he will actually bring peace to the African continent. Because when these objectives are put into place, when these objectives are stipulated, then peace will follow. A lot of people are all over the world, some of them, when they hear of the continent Africa, they're even scared to go there. Why? Because they see coverages of fighting, intimidation, antagonism. But with the arrival of Robert Mugabe as the African Union leader, these things will be eradicated and they will become hostility that has taken place in the past. Robert Mugabe will bring brotherhood into the African continent. When I say brotherhood, I mean people genuinely caring for one another. Brotherhood doesn't mean because we come from the same father and the same mother, you're my brother. No, 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 no. Brotherhood means caring for the next man, having love for the next man. That's what brotherhood means. That's why Michael Jackson made that song. You're my brother, you're my brother, yeah, you're my brother. He's talking about brotherhood across the world. And I'm sure that Robert Mugabe will impose brotherhood. People need to be taught the right thing in our continent. Why would a man pick up a weapon to go and kill someone else in our continent? These things have to stop. That's brutality. And Robert Mugabe will wipe these things out. There will be sheer brotherhood in our continent. Yes, because that's what he represents. People in Africa, under Robert Mugabe's regime, they will begin to rely on themselves. The Africans will begin to rely on the natural resources that God has given to them. The resources is not just for one person or two people. The natural resources of Africa is for everyone. It's for me and you. And the people have to know about this. The people have to start exercising these things. Sharing and caring. It takes me back to that brotherhood. Respect for one another. And the Africans themselves on the continent, they will begin to rely on their own craft. There's a craft in every man. You can't keep on relying on foreign, what's it called again? You can't keep on relying on foreign expertise. Because most of the times, you're relying on like a foreign association, and the African continent, they're getting exploited themselves. So I'm sure Robert Mugabe will look into this. Listen, I'm not beating about the bush. My name is Pastor Ojimba Alex. I'm live and direct. I don't play games. I was sent to you by God. Right, so we want to see a change in Africa. Because Africa belongs to me and you. Who would be better to rule Africa than an African themselves? One day I'd like to be the Prime Minister of England, but would that ever happen? I don't know. So it would be better for Africans to rule their own selves. Before, you know what, yeah, I'm a prophet, and I'm a pastor, and I'm a man of God. Before I sign off today, I'm going to leave you with a prophecy. So go and get your notebook, go and get pen and paper, and write down what I'm about to say right now. Robert Mugabe will be the longest serving African Union leader. Yeah. I don't know how old Robert Mugabe is. Maybe he's 90 years old. But I know you don't believe what I'm saying. It's coming to you like a joke. But it's not a joke. This is the prophet talking. Robert Mugabe will do such a great job, and he will be the longest serving African Union chairman. Robert Mugabe is great. And he will do a great job for the Africans. He will be the envy of other continents. I said this. Robert Mugabe knows, and I'm sure he will achieve this, there has to be more reinforcements in the African streets. It's not like people, foreigners, want to go to Africa and they're scared. They think we're going to get robbed, or we don't know who's out there, what weapon, a tribalistic, whatever. No. These things have to stop. Robert Mugabe, you will bring more police force, more reinforcements into the African streets. There will be more police, more security for the public safety. And on that note, I'm not even going to say no more. Say this with me. Robert Mugabe will bring the rise and rise of Africa. Robert Mugabe will bring the rise and rise of Africa. Can you say that? Robert Mugabe will bring
rise and rise for Africa.
I can't hear you. Robert Mugabe will bring the rise and rise of
for
Africa.
Africa.
Can you say that?
Yeah, Robert Mugabe will bring rise and rise for Africa.
Robert Mugabe will bring the rise and rise for Africa. So I'm just going to conclude right now and say that the people that did nominate Robert Mugabe as the people that did nominate Robert Mugabe as the African Union leader, they've done a good job. This is Robert Mugabe's time, and nobody's going to deny him what the good things he's about to do for Africa. On that note, I'm about to sign out. Peace! Pastor Ojimba Alex. Yeah.